Welcome to the Fabric Podcast, where we explore company culture and how it scales as a company grows. Brought to you by the team at The Receptionist, a bootstrapped, Denver-based software company. Each episode of Fabric will set out to uncover unique and uncommon answers to the question, how do companies of any size create a culture and core values that employees actually live out? On this episode of the podcast, we are slowing down and talking about the Turtle Police with Jessica Marshall, Director of Customer Experience and co-founder, and DeLynn Berry, Director of Engineering and co-founder here at The Receptionist. So what is the Turtle Police? Essentially, it's about slowing down and making sure you work through a task or challenge the right way the first time, taking the time that you need. It's about being intentional. And sometimes we need to respectfully remind each other of the Turtle Police, and sometimes we actually police ourselves. Jess and DeLynn share how this has helped us, examples within the team and our customers, and how you can create a Turtle Police force in your own company. Enjoy the episode. We are back on the podcast, and we are here with DeLynn. Welcome.
Hello, Sarah. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. And Jess, welcome back to you.
And to you.
Thank you so much. So today we're talking about the Turtle Police, and this is a concept we've mentioned a couple of times on the podcast, kind of in passing, and we've written about it on the blog, but we thought it would be good to kind of really focus in on it today and learn more about it, why we do it, and kind of the ins and outs. So DeLynn, start us off before we get into the Turtle Police. Share with us why working at a frenzied pace could be problematic within a company.
Yeah, so in my experience in past jobs, there can be this like frenetic pace to just something that lands on your desk and you want to move it off the desk as soon as possible, right? And that can lead to missing questions or doing something incorrectly or doing something multiple times or incorrectly assessing something that you thought was happening. And it's just kind of like a dangerous place to be. And it feels really good short term, when you're able to get all that work that piled up on your desk off your desk and either onto somebody else's plate or actually done very quickly. But what happens sometimes is you don't recognize when that work like returns back to your desk, and you kind of wonder why, or you get frustrated with stuff, or I'm constantly hearing from this person or from these kinds of problems. And so I think that was kind of some of the origination of where the Turtle Police kind of came from in our organization. And I'll kind of let Jess speak to that a little bit more. But but yeah, like working at a frenetic pace feels good, but doesn't necessarily always result in good outcomes.
Absolutely, especially when you think of the trickle down to your customers and how you ultimately may be working with them. So Jess, tell us what you noticed and how you sort of became the Turtle Police and why it was so important.
Well, I became the Turtle Police by default, but because it landed in my world. And DeLynn's right. When every request to you feels like it's immediate, it's got to get done right now. When support has to be done right now. When your results are based on timeliness, what you miss out on is doing it well. You trade timeliness for quality. And I'm not willing to trade timeliness for quality. So we were seeing an increase in speed. And that speed was resulting in miscommunications, or I'm sorry, I didn't understand that, or I didn't read that properly. And we kept having to go back, and we just had to take a step back and say, it's better for us if we take the time to research a project and provide an accurate solution than it is that we provide a timely solution that is inaccurate. That's not worth it.
And that's a bold choice for a startup. And we talk about our radical support. And I think people could assume, well, radical support is really timely and people are really on top of things. So how does the Turtle Police kind of impact that radical support? And how are those two ideas actually really connected with each other?
I think we're kind of real with our customers. We've always been real with our customers. So what we'll say immediately is, give me a minute. Let me go look at this. I'm going to go research this. It may take some time. And if it results in an escalation because we're having conversations behind the scenes, if it results in an escalation that has to go to development, that's going to take even more time because their time is only available to us certain hours of the day, rightfully so. We have to set those expectations. What I have found as a support person, which I think was a little anathema to us as support people, is to say, if I allow you to just stew and hang in there for a minute, but if I'm honest with you and say, it's going to take me a little while, they will take that answer. It's okay to be delayed and not be immediate if my answer is accurate and solves your problem.
Absolutely. And I would imagine that our customer satisfaction continues to stay strong as we take our time, but we provide really good, solid answers that resolve people's questions or concerns.
Indeed.
Yeah, as long as you're setting people's expectations properly, kind of from the get-go, and instead of just saying, okay, yeah, I'll get back to you, and not giving them, I'll get back to you in 30 minutes, and then holding yourself accountable to that 30 minutes, like you're at least giving someone, okay, hey, they're going to go off and look into this, and it's going to be a little while, but I know that they're going to come back to me in those 30 minutes, and I'll get a, hey, I still need another 30 minutes, or hey, we've actually solved this in 5 minutes, and that actually delights people. When you can say, here, I'm going to give you a window of 30 minutes, but then you exceed that 30, or you do a better job than 30 minutes, people are delighted when that happens. And what you've done is been able to slow down, not feel like you just have to get someone's answer back to them in 5 minutes and almost be, kind of like dismissive of them or, moving on to the next one. You can really dig in, solve the problem, and solve them to a higher expectation than what they even had originally in the first place. And that just creates a positive feedback loop for people and their expectations of us.
Absolutely. So if we had to say what some of the outcomes are of having the turtle police, what would be sort of our list? Obviously, satisfied customers, we're solving their problems, but what else might be positive benefits of the turtle police?
Well, I think the positive benefits are within all of our own teams to be able to tell them that it's okay to slow down, that you don't have to be in a hurry. Most of our employees are not used to a timely response basis. My team is. My team has been based on, you have so many problems that you have to solve in such a time frame period, and that's your quota. We don't have a quota and we don't have a time frame. What we have is satisfaction. And that satisfaction doesn't have a quota or a time frame. It doesn't matter how many people you reach that day, and it doesn't matter how quickly you solve it. If you solve it with humanity and the right answer, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter how long it takes. And that for support people, and I think for salespeople too, that's an anomaly. That's new. We're not trying to solve every single problem immediately. We're trying to solve it well.
Yeah, I think the two things that I've seen is the first, when a problem arises, it gets solved correctly the first time instead of it taking an extra couple attempts to solve an issue and bringing more people across the company into the problem. Like we would have issues where, let's say like a billing thing would happen, right? And it would get solved really quickly. But then 2 weeks later, when we were, running some report or looking at some data or something like that, we'd notice, oh, wait, there was something happened with this. And we'd have to like dive in and figure out what happened. And oh, it was because this decision was made instead of this decision. And had we like slowed down just a little bit and solved it properly, we wouldn't have had to redo a bunch of work to really solve it. And that may or may not have impacted the customer, but it certainly impacted the efficiency of the company. And then the second thing that I've seen it help us out with is just give us a platform for how to communicate to everyone in the company, hey, this is okay to slow down on this one. Take a minute, ask a couple questions. We throw an emoji into Slack or into our intercom chat that is just, like a turtle emoji that that represents like, hey, slow down just a little bit, like take a couple of seconds to breathe. It's okay. We don't have to solve this like right now. It can wait a little bit. And I think that's been really positive from an internal perspective of like being able to signal to people. And when you pair that along with our assuming positive intent thing, everyone sees that as not something that's an attacking message, but it is a, hey, I'm here to support you. And I think you're just running a little fast. Just slow down a little bit. So those are the two things that I think has really helped us out with.
And I'm going to piggyback on that. I think the best thing that I've seen is when people turtle police themselves. When our own employees say, I think I know how to do this, but I want to, and we get the turtle emoji when I just want to slow down a little bit and make sure that I'm getting this right. If I move this, then I move that, and I move the other thing. Is it all gonna sort itself out the way that it should? That to me, having those employees come to us and say, I want to do this right. I don't want to rush. That's that's amazing. That's life-changing.
Absolutely. And DeLynn, we got a little peek about how the Turtle Police works in different departments, but on the development side, how do you see the Turtle Police come into play, whether it's a bug request, a features request? How does that play out in your department?
So I think it just gives, like I was saying before, it kind of gives a mechanism for us to inform people to slow down. And the way I do it is like throw the turtle out there and ask a couple of questions. Hey, did you look at this? Did you ask the customer this? Are you sure this is what they meant when they said this? Because I also read this as it could potentially be this other thing. And that then helps everyone realize that, development isn't just like asking questions to be, pain in the butt or, be a blocker or something like that. It's really to try and get to the core problem and try and solve it right the first time, as opposed to making an assumption, doing something incorrectly, and then needing to rework that thing in the future.
Yeah. And so it seems like part of the evolution of the Turtle Police has gone from Jess kind of defaulting to that role to everyone becoming responsible, not only to Turtle Police themselves and to respectfully Turtle Police other people, but has there been any other evolution in the Turtle Police since it sort of launched itself?
I mean, I feel like I need a turtle with a cape. I don't know. The evolution is that it has gone to our employees, and that something DeLynn and I talked about, like, how do we slow people down a little bit, and having that be absorbed within the community. It's interesting to see things absorbed within the community. And I think that's what makes the biggest difference, to see each one of our sales reps and our support reps really slow down enough to ask the right kind of questions to ensure that what they're trying to accomplish in the end gets accomplished without having to involve development or having to involve support or having to involve billing. Getting those things done efficiently makes all the difference.
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest evolution is that it has been carried across the company, and like it showed up like in the podcast, outside of us having a podcast episode about it. Someone just offhandedly mentions the Turtle Police, like, okay, now it's made it through the consciousness of everyone, and they're even thinking about it when they're just talking, casually on a podcast episode or something like that. It's really awesome to see how it's ingrained itself into our culture.
Yeah. And going to our culture, I mean, part of what we live is being respectful. And as you talked about, we assume positive intent. But can you talk to us just a little bit about how the Turtle Police might do their job in a respectful way, perhaps in a setting that isn't so strong in their culture as we are with respect and assuming positive intent?
I think with other companies, the trick is to find always to find your ambassador, who's on your side, who can you talk to. I've been in a number of companies, and some of them I can think, or I should say, under a number of management differences, some of whom would have heard the turtle police, some of whom wouldn't have. So you either find your ambassador or you prove the point in the pudding. You show that slowing down actually means something better for the company. So if you're based on metrics, are your metrics based on closing times, or are they based on satisfaction times or satisfaction? What's more important? And that's the kind of thing that you can take to your manager and say, okay, look, this is actually important. This makes a difference. There are a lot of companies, support specific, that base things on closing times and numbers of chats that are closed every day. And number of chats does not mean number of satisfaction. That's not, they don't correlate. So if you can find a way to prove slowing down makes a difference, that's what makes the difference.
And I think for me, it's that setting expectations. So you may need to respectfully ask a couple of questions, but if you frame it in that, hey, I've got this customer who has an issue. I've already told them that I'll get back to them in 30 minutes, and I'm just clearing this with you. I'm not intentionally trying to be slow with it. I just want to make sure that we're doing the best thing for the customer. That, I think, should deflect the thing away from the time and more to the quality, right? And hopefully, if you're in a good, healthy organization, whoever's in that organization with you is going to want to help you do the best thing for the customer. And like, I hate to be super rebel here, but maybe if you're finding that isn't the case, then maybe there's something wrong with the organization, and either you need to champion to try and fix it, or you can find another organization that's going to support you better and support customers. So that's my way to do things respectfully and hopefully get people on your side before you ever just kind of like jump off into the 20 questions or kind of game.
I have never ever had a customer when I said, give me 30 minutes, let me look into this. I got to ask somebody something. I want to look into something. Give me X period of time. And if I give them X period of time and I come back in that period of time with answers, I have never had anyone say, I don't want to do business with you. They have always said, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. You're doing your due diligence. Speed is not the answer. Quality is the answer.
Yeah. So if we have any listeners who are working in a fast-paced company and they're at a leadership level and they like this idea of the turtle police, any final tips or thoughts for how to implement this kind of from the top down, as you all have done?
Repetitiveness. Well, I mean, I don't know what else to say, DeLynn, except, I mean, it took a minute. This is not new for us, but I think it's a little new for our employees to really be reinforcing it. So it took a minute for the rest of the team to say, I'm going to turtle myself. I have a question. Best day of my life. I'm going to turtle police myself. I have a question. It's amazing. So to give it a little bit of time, but not to give up on the idea, because I think it's so valid, and I think it supports our customers, your customers, anyone's customers, in the way they deserve to be treated. Everyone will wait for the right answer. They will get mad at the wrong answer over and over again.
Yep, I completely agree with that. Like, you have to be have to be repetitive, almost to the point of driving people crazy with new ideas like this sometimes. And I think the other thing as a leader too is to lead by example when it comes to being a turtle. Like turtle yourself first and show other people that, hey, maybe I would go at this at 100 miles an hour. I'm intentionally going to slow down and ask a couple people questions about this, so that way you're leading by example and kind of showing people the way that you expect things to be done from a turtle police perspective. And then as long as you've had that conversation at the company-wide level, to where everyone kind of understands the rules of what is the turtle police, how do you implement it, how do you bring it up in a public or private setting, like do you just adopt our like emoji thing, and that kind of helps everyone out, or do you come up with a different way to just kind of like let everyone know, hey, this is a situation that we're acting very intentionally on in this new way for this reason. I think that helps it become comfortable for everyone, because the first couple months it was uncomfortable for people to need to slow down or want to slow down, because they were just busy doing things the way they had been done before.
Slow down, to be asked to slow down.
Yeah. So once you kind of, as soon as everyone gets comfortable with it, then it becomes easier and it becomes a part of your culture. But to start, it's going to feel a little weird to people, and that's okay.
Absolutely.
It still feels weird. I'm gonna say, no, truly, it still feels weird. But every single time I'm like, wait, I got to think about this for another 5 minutes and make sure that I've covered every single base I can possibly cover. And part of that is we're adaptable and we're so customizable, and there are so many wormholes that we can go down. There truly are. But doing that due diligence means that we're doing it and our customers appreciate it. And in the end, they're going to get the right answer and not, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're not going to get a junk answer. I'm going to give them the best answer I can give them. And that is, I tested this and 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 this.
Yeah. And they'll get the right answer. And it may take a little longer than they had wanted or that they had hoped, but it will be the right answer and it will solve their problem. And then they will be happy and they will move on. So thank you both for talking to us about the Turtle Police and sharing more of what it's about and ways that people can ultimately implement that. So thank you both for being on the show.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you again to Jess and DeLynn for talking with us about the Turtle Police. If you'd like to learn more about The Receptionist and try us for 2 weeks free, no credit card required, visit us at thereceptionist.com.